Hey, what's up, everybody?
Welcome to Unveil Paranormal Podcast for another lovely evening of interviewing and chatting with more people in the paranormal field. Are you excited, Brad?
I'm super excited.
I am super excited too, guys. We have a very cool guest, a guest I've never had on the show before. Actually, I don't believe. So this
Mm.
is kind of a really cool experience we're going to have tonight. As always, if you do have questions for our guests, you all are more than welcome to jump in the comment section and say hello, ask your questions, whatever you'd like. We greatly appreciate your input during the show. It's wonderful to have you here. Um, but as y'all seen, we had posted Brad, our awesome guest
Yes.
tonight. Would you like to introduce our guest for the evening?
Sure. Our guest tonight is our good friend Pete Greist, and we're going to bring him on right now. Hi, Pete.
Hey guys, thanks for having me on.
Oh, very welcome.
Welcome.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much, Pete. I really appreciate you being here. So let's get started. You're with Northwest Indiana Paranormal or Paranormal Indiana, is that correct?
Yes, Northwest Indiana Paranormal.
Yep. And you're a paranormal investigator. Is that what you consider yourself?
Yeah, since about like 2012.
Oh, nice. So a long time, 13 years. What got you into investigating in 2012?
Well, in 2012, I had a friend that asked me about a public investigation they were having at the Old Lake County Jail in Crown Point.
Okay.
It's a favorite for a lot of people, including me. We went there. It was just a large group of people kind of walking around inside of there. Some people were taking it serious, other people weren't. But whatever happened, it ended up being where I was hooked by the time we left. So just walking around, I don't know if it was the history that's there, which is a big part of this for me, or it was the actual things that happened while we were there that were unexplainable, the little minor touches, things like that happened, but still cool. That just left me wanting more and wanting to come back on my own with a smaller group.
Mm.
That's
I
awesome.
love Crown Point. That's probably one of my favorite jails I've ever been to.
Yeah,
I
Sandy Boy does such a great job over there. She and all of her volunteers take such great care of that place. It's just amazing to walk in there and see all the work they've done.
Mm-hmm.
that's that. I mean, that building. She's done a very good job, but it's so interesting to me that you go on a ghost hunt. I've heard this story 100 times where people go on one ghost hunt and it's over for them. It's as soon as they have that first ghost hunt, they're hooked, and that is so interesting that was how you got into it. Now, would you say you've had experiences prior to that, to 2012?
Yeah, I mean, I was always into like Halloween, things that are, spooky stuff, all that kind of thing. But when I was younger, probably about like 19, 20 years old, we were staying with my grandparents. We were taking care of my grandfather
Okay.
because he had dementia. He was passing away, stuff like that. And I had like this sectioned off area of the basement that was kind of my room.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he had just passed away. And one night I'm sleeping down there, and he had a drafting room uh, that was just across the room there. And in the middle of the night, I felt like this just kind of a tug at the bottom of the blanket. And so, it's pitch black. You can't see anything other than the glow of the alarm clock. And
Right.
so it's kind of
Mm-hmm.
lighting up the bed. And I'm kind of like just afraid to look down at my toes where they're at. But I can feel like somebody's just gradually just pulling on that
Yeah.
blanket.
Mm-hmm.
It's to the point where I'm holding it like this and I feel it's going taut. You know what I mean? Like if I'm going to let go of this and I
It's gonna.
finally let go of it and it went halfway down where somebody had pulled the other hand, I jumped out of bed, knocked everything off the alarm clock, everything, ran up the stairs, never slept down there again. But it got me kind of like hooked on the shows. I started watching, Ghost Adventures and, Ghost Hunters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it was just that I always remembered that first thrill, like that first, kind of
But
fight or flight type feeling that you get when something like
Yeah.
that happens, and running up there. So it was just something that I never really forgot, and then I started like picking that up again, that night when we went to Old Lake County Jail, and I'm like, I just got to start doing this on a regular basis.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, did anything major happen the first investigation at Lake County that really gave you that thrill? Nothing like the basement situation, huh?
No, I mean, we all know how those public investigations can go. You got some people who visited the bar down the street before they came.
Right.
You got some people who want to make ghost noises the whole time that they're there.
mhm.
And then you got like the five of us that are trying to take it seriously.
Right,
So
right.
it's like, there was a couple times you're standing there like, hey, did you just touch me? And then there's nobody behind you, or you hear the whisper going in your ear. And I'm like,
Yeah.
trying to like, figure out what this is and everything. And then you got, Sandy. I think that was the first time that I met her. And
Yeah.
people are just like, kind of just like, telling you all this history here. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm standing right here where John Dillinger was in this cell. This is the cell he got out of. This is the hallway he ran down. This is the
Yeah.
door he ran out. Things like that. And I just eat up that history. It just,
Mhm.
to me, it's so much bigger than the paranormal.
hmm
I totally relate with that. I get super excited to hear about where I'm standing. All this history had gone down, and these people had their residual energies left there, so to speak. And like, it's just, I'm the same way. I just love hearing the history and the stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that Lake County is definitely one of those places that has it. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So you decided you're gonna start doing this regularly, which means you created a group. When did your group come about?
Well, at first it was just unofficially, it was just a handful of friends, that had
Okay.
gone there that night. So we were doing things like Reeder Road and Griffith, a
Mhm.
lot of cemeteries, things like that. And then, it was a lot of people that actually worked at Griffith High School, where I work still
Okay.
today.
hmm
I'm a police officer in Northwest Indiana. I'm a school resource officer, and I'm assigned to Griffith High School.
Oh,
So
okay.
back in 2013, me and my friends, we had a couple teachers, a custodian, and we're kind of like, hitting these local places, things like that. And then we'd go back to school and we'd, tell the kids about it. We'd be
hmm
Yeah.
like, yeah, hey, we went here, we did this, you know, um, and they would always be asking about it. Like, man, that sounds so cool. We wish we could come with you guys. We wish we could do this too, you know, and,
hmm
with permission, like we're always getting,
Yeah.
and then so we're like, you know what, let's try to start a club. So we wrote it up. We made sure that they know that it was going to be a unique way to learn about history. It's going to be
hmm
Yeah.
completely all inclusive, for everybody, that anybody that could join that was in high school. And we ended up getting it approved. The first thing that we ever did was Franklin School in Griffith. It was a 1911 school that we went through there, and we had an elevator that just engaged by itself and went up 2 floors and then came down. And I'll
Oh,
never forget the looks on the kids' faces. And
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, that first night, I think we had like, 22 people that joined, because,
Oh
everybody else is
gosh.
kind
Yeah.
of like, is this real? This type of stuff.
hmm
Those 22 kids went back to school, and I had about 30 people join the next day.
Oh
Oh my god.
wow, that's
Because,
awesome.
yeah, because they went back there and they're like telling these people, you have no idea how cool this is. Back then we had one K2 meter, one
Yeah.
digital recorder, a pair of dowsing rods, you
hmm
know,
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. And after a while, we just started collecting all this stuff. If you're taking 15 kids, you got to have 15 K2 meters,
Yeah.
and
Right,
then
right.
you got to have a couple, K2. You got to have a couple digital recorders. And then we started, I started watching shows just to see, hey,
The
what's
te-
that? What's
watch
that?
watch the tech. Yep.
Yeah, what's that
Yep.
device? And then I'd be looking it up during the show. All right, I'm going to order it.
Yeah.
So now I got about, I don't know, probably $8,000 worth of stuff that
Right.
we've ended up. It's dangerous if you're getting ready to start doing this stuff. It is extremely addicting collecting
Yeah.
equipment.
For sure. I know all about that.
So that ended up being where we had year after year, it grew.
Yeah.
And now every year we hover around 100 students that
Oh
are
my
in it.
Wow, that's
So
crazy. That's
yeah,
awesome.
it's amazing. They even they have patches for their Letterman's jackets that have the
Oh,
symbol
really?
on their sleeves. Yeah, so to this day, I see old Letterman's jackets. These people have it, and it says GHS Paranormal Society on it.
Oh my
And
gosh.
we've gone on over 175 trips
That's
since
Wow.
2013 and
that's
donated.
cool as heck.
The best part is we've donated over $6,000 to local historical sites. In the
That's awesome.
process, they've done community service projects. Every year, we go to Oak Hill Cemetery and we put American flags on the graves of soldiers, of veterans,
Awesome.
um, and also it brings together kids from all walks of life.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
there's all these kids, you have somebody who's a football player and somebody who's a cheerleader and somebody who's in the chess club and somebody's in the Dungeons and Dragons club. And they're all together and they
Yeah.
never would have hung out with each other
Right.
except
Right.
for the fact that they have this same common interest. And then the next day you see them like comparing pictures with each other,
Hmm.
talking to each other after that, becoming friends with people that they would have never talked to before and visiting places that they may have never visited if it wasn't for this club and learning about their history.
Hmm. Yeah, that's. I was going to
Oh, that
actually
is
bring that up.
awesome.
The first time I ever rented the Roth House, there was a school bus there when I got there, and it was you and your group.
Yeah. I mean, there's 100 people in it, but it's, we take, like a minibus and
Hmm.
I got certified to drive it. So,
Oh, awesome.
yeah, so I drive that, and I'll take about 10 kids at a time, and then we take a mixture of like parents and some teachers, some staff that want to join.
Hmm.
My
Yeah.
co-director is Casey Verity, so she usually
Yep.
goes with as well. She knows she is a special needs teacher at the school
Oh,
now,
okay.
Okay.
and so she drives the bus also, and so either one of us will drive, and we take sometimes we'll go to a place like 3, 4, 5 times in a year to make sure
Hmm.
that we
Yeah.
can get 50 kids through there. You know,
Right.
Right. But
so
yeah, I'll never forget my first trip to the Roth House, and we pull up and like there's a school bus here. So, but yeah, that was the first time I'd ever. I didn't actually meet you that night, but that's the first time we were at the same location together. Actually,
and that place is awesome too, the
yeah,
Roth House.
I love the Roth House. I want to go back again so bad.
That's awesome. I know. I would imagine. I'm impressed you were actually able to get a club like that in a high school because I don't know how big Griffith is, but we are in a very small community. I could not imagine them allowing that in our school. Or my daughter, she's 13 and she loves ghost hunting, and it's hard for me to take her with because some places don't like it. But I just think it's awesome that you're able to do that and bring all
Well,
these kids and let them explore. And it's really cool that you're talking about the diversity within the kids because we also do see that a lot of times, even as adults. The diversity of backgrounds that we each have and stuff is so different, but we're all into the same thing, which I think is awesome, Pete.
Absolutely. We in any high school student there can go, and we have a little between 700 and 800 kids in our high school.
Oh,
So
much bigger than our school.
but we've technically got about like 1/7 of the population,
Yeah,
that's joining our club. We usually when we do like the question or the yearbook photo, we usually have to
yeah.
divide them up between seniors, juniors, sophomores, and freshmen to
Oh,
Hmm.
do
yeah.
4 different pictures
Hmm.
so that we could fit them all in one picture. One picture would be a little bit difficult. So,
Right.
but yeah, it's something that I really, really enjoy about it. And one thing that we're going to look into getting into towards this end of this spring is I'm going to bring somebody in and teach us how to do gravesite cleanings. So,
Oh
Oh,
wow,
I,
that'd be cool.
because with those type of things, you have to research the person, get permission to do it, that kind of stuff. And then we could go out on a Saturday, take 10 kids or so, go out there, work together, clean a gravestone. I'd like to focus on veterans first because I'm huge on two things: veterans and animals. Those are
Gotcha.
those are the big things for me. But we'd like to go out there and clean gravestones, especially for the veterans. Make it a group project, and then you know how that stuff works. You can come back a year later; it continues to clean that grave. You know,
Yeah.
after it, the solution that you put on there, and you can come
Mhm.
back and look at it and be like, "Hey, we did that together." That's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a great additive to what you're doing, is adding something like grave cleaning, because that's something, we see these grave sites all the time. People just, they get buried and forgotten, and it's so sad. So I love that. I think that's awesome.
I'm glad that so much is given back to the community through that group.
Yeah, it's stuff that I want to instill in them. You know, not only to preserve history and respect the people that came before us, but also that it's more than ghost hunting. You know, I don't want these people just going there and going around. Okay, well, we're done ghost hunting. We're going to leave. I want them to walk away from there, and a lot of them will say stuff like, "I had no idea that this place existed."
Mm.
You know,
Yeah.
I drive by here every day, and I had no idea about this. So when we give them, the information on these places,
Right.
and when they first get there, they do like a tour, and so they'll be sitting there like a word will pop up with the actual like a name from somebody that was in the tour, and they
Right.
remember it.
Mm.
Yeah.
And right there they learned something that they didn't know before they came in there.
Right.
And then they'll be telling people, the next group will be coming, they'll be like, see if you talk to John when you go there, tell him I said hi. And they say stuff like that. And
Mhm.
you're like,
Yeah.
you remembered about there being a John there.
Right.
So very cool.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. I wish my high school would have had
Yeah, me too.
Uh,
that.
I would have traded my choir and bowling patch out for one of those patches any day.
Yeah.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Oh, where's it gonna go? I just spaced.
That led to in 2018 we made Northwest Indiana Paranormal, and that was
That's a good
actually
great.
based.
Yeah.
That was actually a bunch of the parents and former
Oh, really?
students. Yeah, so a lot of the parents were going, because we only can go like an hour and a half away. We're
Mhm.
driving
Right.
a bus. We got to get them back. So
Yeah.
it's we're not spending the night at places or anything like that. So like a lot of the parents were going, man, I wish we could just go a little bit further. I wish we could go to this place, but it's 3 hours or 4 hours. You
Right.
know, and then it turned into where we're like, well, let's do an adult group. You know, so we started doing that. We formed that, and we do a lot of the same stuff that we do with the kids group along the lines of community service. And then it's, time some though. I mean, we're going to
Right.
like places and spending the whole day there, hauling barnwood out of Speakeasy in Hartford City,
Oh
Mhm.
gosh.
stuff
Yeah.
like that. So that kind of stuff is so important.
Yeah.
And I think I got to give so much credit to my groups because everybody in these groups has such a big heart for history and for restoration, and that's what it's all about. It's about
I
supporting
love that.
the operation and restoration efforts of these places that we visit.
I love
That's
that.
that's great. I love it.
I remember my question now. So, because you're dealing with kids here and parents, um, do you keep it mostly history and scientific base, or do you allow a little bit of that metaphysical, psychic stuff in your, probably not in your kids group, I would think, but what's kind of your methods you like to use in the field?
Well, like with the kids group, we don't mess with Ouija boards. We don't bring any of that kind of stuff there with it. Everybody's kind of like doing things on what they believe. Like,
Right.
we're not like, oh, hey, everybody come over here. We're going to do this or, that kind of stuff. We're not praying before we go in or before we leave, stuff like that.
Right.
You don't want to offend anybody, so it's one of those things where everybody, if somebody wants to say a prayer on their own, they go do that. When they leave, they do, they'll say their prayer before they leave, that kind of stuff. But everybody does what they believe on their own. When
Right.
it comes to the adult group, it's something where, we get a little bit more advanced in things that, somebody might use a Ouija board. I personally don't use them, but
Yeah.
like there will be some people who may use a Ouija board. Um, uh, and then there'll be more of that metaphysical side that comes out with that.
Mhm.
So one thing that I did notice though is with like the kids, they're so
Yeah.
much more connected when it comes down to stuff. I don't know if you've noticed that, but
Mhm.
but when we do things like an Estes method spirit box session, some of
Yes.
those kids, it's like they're on the phone. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Right. They're
So we're
they're plugged into the other side.
yeah. Well, there will be some kids that'll go there and they're just sitting there, and there's no words coming through, and then we'll be
Mhm.
like, "Hey, get Madison up here," and she'll go
Yeah.
up there and put it on, and then she's just getting word after word after word. There's certain people who are just really more in tune than other people when it
Mhm.
comes down to it, and especially kids.
Yeah, we Brad helped me in October. I decided to do a kids investigation at the Shabby Owl. I don't know if you're familiar with that. It's in North Manchester, Indiana.
Yeah, we
Mhm.
actually drove by there and checked it out.
Did you?
Yeah, totally
Yeah.
want to book it.
Yeah.
I recommend small group,
Yeah.
but definitely
Yeah.
check it out.
It's a
'Cause
fun
it's not
place.
huge. It's unless you can convince the person that owns it to let you in the antique shop, you don't have a lot to investigate. So if you can get in the antique shop, I highly recommend it. But yeah, when we did the kids investigation back in October, because my daughter, again, she's 13 and she wants to do these hunts, so I'm like reached out to Shabby Owl and they're like, oh yeah, you can bring her, have a little event. So we did an event. Those kids, some of them, they same thing. They were just like conversation going, and like they'll just take off with the equipment. Most of them were preteens. They just do their thing and have these whole conversations going on. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. It's definitely sometimes we'll have a mix of people. Somebody will bring like their teenager, with them or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And
Mhm.
sometimes when you're running into like where you're not talking, hey, you mind if your son gets on here? Stuff like that. And sometimes they'll
Yeah,
be a little bit more connected than the adults when it comes down to that. So yeah, I
for
could totally
sure.
tell it. And that town, North Manchester,
It's
it's like you're
creepy.
going back
Mm-hmm.
in time
Yeah.
when you go through there.
Yeah.
The historical society's right around the corner from the Shabby L. You need to check it out too. It's really nice. I got a chance to go in there and actually go upstairs to the archive part too.
Well, everything up there, Wabash,
Mm-hmm.
Decatur, all those towns that are over in that area in northeast Indiana. Um,
That's where I'm at.
we'll go like way out of our way in order to just do this. I mean, if we're going to a location, like I'm going to go to that Jim Jones Boyhood Church
Oh,
with,
and Lynn. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to be going to that. In with this newer group
Oh,
called Ghouls Night Out. They invited me to go with them, and so we're going to be going there in April. But I'll go straight there and take 4 hours to get there, but then I'll take 8 hours to get back
oh,
Mhm.
because you
really?
take
Yeah.
all the small roads. I like to eat in the mom and pop restaurants.
Yeah.
Stop at all the old cemeteries, things like that, because it's all about the side quests for
Yeah.
me.
Lynn Church is pretty awesome.
I
I
can't wait. I'm looking forward
She
to
and
it.
I got to go was that last year we went?
Yeah, I wonder if I shared that one video. I think I did. There was a Peter we talked to, which is ironic name's Pete. I don't know if you remember that, but that was one of the
I've
names that got
slept a
brought
lot.
up.
I've slept a lot since then. So the only thing I remember, it was really really hot
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we were there, and there was like a alarm system that went off at like 9 o'clock at night, like a
Uh,
curfew
the,
alarm or whatever.
yeah, it's the curfew alarm they have there.
Yeah, that's the only thing I remember. It was a lot of fun, but yeah,
No,
that
this
was
will be in April, so hopefully it won't be too hot.
right. Yeah, we were there in like June or July, I'm sure.
Yeah, summer.
No, I'm
Yeah,
doing.
you'll
Oh, I'm
like it.
sorry.
You'll really like it. That's all I was saying.
Well, I'm doing Billy Creek Village and Indiana State Sanitarium over a weekend at the end of June, and so that'll be toasty.
Yeah, that'll be
Yeah.
Maybe
warm.
hot
That'll
there.
be definitely warm.
Yeah, but it'll be worth it going to those locations. I've been to both of those places a couple times, and I can't wait to go back. I'm actually
That's
taking
awesome.
31 people over a
Oh my
period
god.
of 2 nights. It's going to be 21 one night and 25 the next night.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
So they're big areas, so we could spread out. It'll be fine.
Oh yeah. I remember going to
Now,
Billy Creek Village as a kid, so before it was closed down and turned into a paranormal attraction. So it's a neat
now,
place too.
when I met you, Pete, that was at the Geyer Opera House.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea you came and like most of your team took all those tickets up. So that was a cool experience for me because I'm like, who are these people? Like, and then I got to know you and I got to know your team and everybody that was there. And I'm like, that's when I started following you and everything. And I think that's really cool. That's when I started to learn about your team and everything you guys do. Geyer Opera is not a very popular place. Not a lot of people know about it, but what do you think about it that night?
I love the places that somebody says, "Hey, have you ever heard of this place?" And they go, "No," and I'm like, "Well, I want
Yeah,
to go there."
Mm-hmm.
You know,
right.
I mean, there's a place in Ohio called the Gill House,
I've
and
been to the
people,
Gill House.
the place is amazing.
It is.
It's
I don't know.
absolutely amazing, and
Yeah.
and and we were talking to some of the people at the in Mansfield when we went to
Yeah,
the
Mm-hmm.
Reformatory. So we're going to like all the people. And Heather Taddy was there, remember? And like we were talking to Heather Taddy at her booth, and I said, she's like, she's very very nice, very personable. And she's like, what are you guys doing the rest of the weekend? And then so we said we're going to the Gill House. She's like, the Gill House, she's like, I never heard of it. And
Hmm.
and I was like, yeah, well, if she's never heard of it, and she goes everywhere, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
yeah,
It's something where I really was looking forward to going, because now I'm going somewhere where she's never been. And
Right.
maybe or Dave Schrader might not have been there, or
right.
somebody else of these other celebrities and stuff like that. And I might have something that when the next time I see them, I could be like, "Hey, we went to this place. It's really cool. You guys should check it out." Maybe they will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it just gives
There,
something to talk about.
there's another location right near the Gill House called Brunetta Cottage. One weekend, John and I went out there and did Brunetta Cottage one night, and then the Gill House the second night. It's literally like right down the street from the Gill House.
Oh, that'd be cool because we
Yeah.
really want to go back to the Gill House. We're actually doing Madison Seminary in
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
September, so we're kind of looking for a place to do on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So I know we want to stop in Cambridge, Ohio, on the way back.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
my ancestors actually founded that city,
Oh, cool.
and so my
Really?
mom's maiden name is Sarchet, like Sarchet, and that's where the founders were Sarchets, and there's a whole founders cemetery, and it's all Sarchets, and I'm related to all of them.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
And
That's
so
cool.
it's so cool, and they still have the founder Thomas Sarchet's house that's still there, and he's like some distant relative of mine. And so I think it's going to be cool to stop by there and go into a house that a distant relative, possibly some form of great uncle or great grandfather, lived
Mm-hmm.
there back in the
Yeah.
early 1800s. So we're looking forward to going there. But on the way back, though, if that's by the Gill House, because we've been trying to find somewhere that's available.
Yeah.
You know,
Check with John Robinson. He had the contact info when we went, so
awesome.
reach out to
Okay,
John.
thank you.
He might still have it.
Awesome, thank you.
I will tell you, Pete. Brad knows like locations like crazy. So if you're ever needing something new, like he knows them, and he also helped me with my website first, my unveilparanormal.com. I have like 150 to 200 locations listed, that I listed, I posted, I put down like their links. So all you gotta do is click on the picture, it goes to their links, it's sorted by state. I did that with the help of Brad because he knows all these locations. So if you're looking for more pay to play places, so to speak, check out the website and just go through the list from Alabama to the last one. So
Well,
Wow.
that's very cool. Are you the one that came up with the Geyer Opera House? Or are you the one that found that?
Brad,
I had been at Geyer. I've been going to Geyer for over 10 years, so I think John is who introduced me to the Geyer.
I remember we got that awesome picture
Mm-hmm.
when we were there. Like
Yes, in
over
the
by
doorway. Yes.
yeah, Yeah, that was a really really cool place. And then when you go in there where all the costumes are and everything,
Yeah.
it's just kind of like gives you one of those things like everybody got up and left. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Type
It
of
Hmm.
does.
things. It's what it just kind of seemed like. But I know
Yeah,
that still
that was the first time I'd ever seen the paranormal music box in person,
hmm
and I literally ordered it that same night while we were using yours.
I still have that, but it's getting tired.
Hmm.
Starting to, no matter
Yeah.
how many times you change those batteries,
Uh,
it's an old man now. That thing's
uh,
been going for a while now. So it's one of those things where I'm going to probably end up having to, you know, either it'll be something that we'll just look at.
like a memento. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just put it out on things because I want to make sure that it survives.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, I think that might have been the first night I ever did the dual Estes method where we had two people,
me
and
and you
that
did
seemed
it.
to be, yeah, it seemed to be pretty
Hmm
successful, I'd
hmm
say. So
Hmm.
I love that method now. I mean, especially with two people, if we don't hear each other, I think it's very validating. So,
Yeah.
Hmm.
um, speaking of locations, do you have a favorite?
Well, unfortunately, probably one of my favorite ones is actually getting torn down.
Oh,
So the old Benton County Jail in Fowler, Indiana,
Hmm.
there was just an actual initiative trying to um, save it. It was
yeah.
built in 1876. It's got a ton of history associated with it. And Dwight Sneathen down there, he runs My Haunted Fowler, the Fowler Theater, as you guys know.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that guy, it just blood, sweat, and tears into that place for years, just
Wow.
working on it, trying to save it, trying to keep it going. And then unfortunately the county commissioners recently voted to destroy it.
Hmm.
So I mean he got over 700 signatures. He got Indiana landmarks involved, whole bunch of different things. It made it so he thought we had a chance, and there was a number of people who went down to the meeting to voice their displeasure with the decision, and unfortunately, they made that decision to go ahead and tear it down. So I guess sometime this spring, unfortunately, it's probably going to get the wrecking ball.
Oh,
Oh
that's
God.
sad to see.
Yeah.
Is there a good reason that like a parking lot going in or something?
I heard that they're going to put, because it's right next to like the sheriff's department that's there, because they
Uh,
have the new jail is right across the street. I heard that they're going
okay.
to build some sort of a canine facility for the sheriff's canines. So,
Okay.
and then additional parking for them across the
Yeah.
street. So, all we can do is hope. It's not over until, as long as that thing's still standing.
Right,
But
Yeah.
right.
there's so many cool stories attached to that, and we've done documentaries in there and things like that. And it's just I love going there.
Yeah.
So it's definitely one of my favorites, and I'm hoping that some people change their minds and realize how much that building is loved by people, not just in Fowler but everywhere.
Hmm.
Right. Now similar building to that one. Have you ever been to Kosciuszko County Jail?
I have not, over in Warsaw, correct?
Yeah. It's
Right.
just yeah. It reminds me a little bit of that building, and that's a pretty good building too. So I mean, might be kind of one to check out for you. I don't
We
know how far that is from you, but
we went in it for a tour, like during the daytime.
Hmm.
yeah.
Heard all about the John Dillinger connection to it and everything
Yeah.
like that. The good thing is, though, we did get to eat at the Barbie Hotel
Oh, yep,
Okay.
yep.
across town there, which was
Yeah.
awesome. Which I guess it was a big gangster hangout, and was on some TV shows and things like that.
Yeah, it was.
But that was a really good restaurant to eat at. But that jail, I think it's wonderful the way that they have that set up,
Mhm.
Hmm.
where it's like a history museum. So like
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
door to door, and it has everything on it. But you're walking through the jail, but you're also learning while you're walking through it. So that's really cool the way
Yeah.
they have it set up.
Yeah. That's definitely probably the location I can think that's most similar to probably the Benton County Jail. Just the looks of them, maybe the time period might be about the same, but you might want to give it a shot. But
Well,
it is kind of, you got to know the right people to talk to. You know Phil Gibson, talk to him. He'll get you in there.
Yeah, that'd be cool. It's one of these things. I heard like 6 is like about as many people as you want to bring in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want too many.
Yeah,
It's a cool place. I've only got to go once, but it was amazing when I was there.
Well, it's right down Route 30 from me, so one of these days, and it's only like an hour and a half. I think an hour and a half, maybe 2 hour drive.
Not too bad, yeah.
So I know we're planning on going to Michigan, just right over the border, sometime in the next couple of months, and we always like to have like 2 things. You know, if we're gonna go take a trip, we're gonna make it into a 2-nighter. So we'll end up doing one and then go to the next one. So that would be a cool thing to be able to add on to that.
Yeah, I think you did that for the Geyer Opera. Didn't you do Pear Cafe right before that?
Yeah, well, the Para Cafe, remember we were at the Geyer Opera House when the Para Cafe was burning down.
Yes,
Right.
I remember that night.
Unfortunately,
Yeah.
because we did Para Cafe before. We were supposed to do Para Cafe, and then it ended up burning down. So I felt so terrible about that place too. That place was just amazing, and I heard it caught fire 3 times, and so it was just one of those things. It was only a matter of time for that to happen.
Yes, Blake. It's close. How close would you say it's to Crown Point Jail, Griffith?
From Griffith, it probably takes me about 10, 15 minutes to drive to the jail.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have to talk about History Alive.
Yeah.
We got to hear about what's going on. For those that don't know what History Alive is, I guess let us know what History Alive is and what this project is you're working on.
Well, History Alive was created by Darren Zankin, and he is with DMZ Productions. And DMZ Productions used to be based out of Kentucky. And so what they did is they started this show down there pre-COVID. So they started kind of like filming this, getting some people together that they wanted to be on the show, including 2 that are still on it, Lee Jacobs and hold on. I almost sorry, my computer almost fell off here. There was if my cat goes over here, he was gonna knock it over. But Lee Jacobs, Jamie Stidham, and I hope I pronounced that right, Jamie Stidham, and Amelia Connor, and then me and Kara Phillip. So are the 5 people that are in it, and but those 2, Jamie and Lee, were in Kentucky. They live in Kentucky, and sorry, and it ended up where COVID started. So they kind of had to put everything on a shelf, and they were like, it was kind of like moving along real well, and then they were like, you know what, we're going to have to stop this with COVID happening, and then he moved his business up here to Crown Point.
Okay.
So he moved his business up here. He's actually originally from this area. So it ended up where he wanted to start it back up again. And he started, saying who's going to be on this show, and wanted to change a couple different things. And I was very lucky. He contacted me and asked me to come and talk to him about it. And then he said he wanted me to be on his show. And then Kara Phillip, she lives in Illinois. And she's a nurse up in there, and I believe by Chicago. And so she was chosen, and a lot of people know Kara Phillip. She's on Paraflix, Into the Obscure. She has her show on there. And then Amelia Cotter is a author, and she's been on TV shows and things like that in the past. But everybody has one thing in common with everybody, or with all 5 of us, and that is that we all love history, and we all want to see it be saved and protected. So it's sorry, you guys have animals, you know what it's like.
Yep.
Yep.
So, uh, but it's amazing how we all click together. Just
That's
from day
good.
one, working together there. I would say like Jamie has the biggest heart, of everybody. Uh,
Hmm.
Jamie like has gone around and made sure everybody feels welcome.
Oh,
There was one point where me and Kara were like walking outside, and Jamie like walked up to us, and he was like, "Hey, I just want to tell you guys how good you are at this, and I just want to tell you, how much I enjoy working with you, and I'm really looking forward to more of this with you guys and everything." And he's just a really really good guy,
yeah, that's
so
awesome.
he's got that big heart. And then Lee's like kind of the joker a little bit of things
Yeah.
at the time.
Hmm.
He's always got a joke for us when they're not filming, and sometimes when they are. uh, but really really good guy, very very knowledgeable. Jamie, by the way, is the tech guy. So that guy, I watched him when he went to go put the cords away. He was sitting there wiping the cords down as he was going through,
Oh
Really?
wow.
everything immaculate, all organized and clean. Just does a really good job. So,
That's
um,
awesome.
and then so it's just really been really good time getting to know all of them,
Yeah.
including the rest of the uh, crew, um, Anna and Brendan and Carlos and stuff like that. So just really really good people to work with.
So the show is called History Alive, correct?
Hmm.
And where will people be able to watch it and when? Is it
Well, right now, the DMZ is still trying to figure out which platform they're going to be using. So they're in talks with streaming platforms and networks, and we're just waiting to hear the next step. So
that's
um,
awesome.
it is,
So it's in production, but not out for
yes,
viewing yet. Got it. Okay.
yes, yes. We've done filming going all the way back to October. I know that like over the last couple of weeks, they had. Uh, Reenactments were being filmed at Old Lake County Jail. So he had people coming out there to do that. But
That's cool.
um, so it's really, really worked out to that we are like all on the same page about history, because that's what it's all about. This show is more history than the paranormal, but it's about
Is it
going
okay?
and seeing if those people are still there.
Right.
So,
That's like the main focus. I think that's awesome.
yeah, definitely.
Uh,
So it's just the people that are on there. It's like, sometimes when you go and you're working on like a project, you go in there and you might be kind of like everybody's kind of in their corners. You walk
Yeah.
in and then everybody has just been so friendly, so welcoming. Just really, really enjoy working on this project with them. And DMZ, if you've seen these clips that are out there, they're putting little snippets of the
Yeah.
show out
Hmm.
there. I mean, these are some talented, amazing people that are doing these this filming for the show.
Yeah, the filming looks like professional TV quality filming from what
Yeah,
I saw.
yeah, it's definitely he just like seems to be an expert at editing,
Hmm.
everything, because of the fact that he's just pumping out these clips. They
Yeah.
come out like every other day. He's putting something else out there and everything just to let you know, hey, this is just a little taste of what you're going to get with this show.
Now,
So
where can people see those clips at? For those that don't know, I know it's on Facebook. Is that primarily where History Alive's at?
Facebook and Instagram and TikTok.
Okay.
Okay.
I personally don't have TikTok, but I know the show has a TikTok, and
Okay.
then I believe uh, Jamie and Lee and Kara and Amelia and Darren have TikToks as well.
Okay.
So I know that the show does. So if you look up their private TikToks, they're usually on there. But I know that we all have Facebook and we all have Instagram.
Okay.
So it's you can always find those on, because it's like when you go to post it, we're always promoting each other on there too. putting
Mm-hmm.
all of our Facebook and our Instagram handles on there, so that
Yeah.
we can promote each other.
Yeah.
That's
That's what it's
awesome.
all about. So
Yeah.
Is this your first show? Is this sorry, I was just wondering, is this the first time you ever been in a show production like this?
yeah, we've done like I've done like documentaries type
Okay.
stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like what we did with Old Benton County Jail. We did a story about Jacob Nelling, things like that. But when it comes down to something that might be on television like this, yeah, definitely, this is my first time doing something like this, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. It's
That's
it's such an amazing experience, and I think a lot of that has to do with the people that I'm working with.
that's
Awesome.
awesome. I like that you guys do so much promoting of others. That's great.
No, it's not a one person project.
Mm.
It's I mean, Darren just had this dream with this show. He's wanted to do this for so long, and I think it's just amazing to him to see it all come together as well.
Mm-hmm.
To see these things. I'm sure he's just all excited, just waiting to see where his vision's going to come out. Whether it be a streaming platform or it be a network. Somebody's going to get to see the amazing things that he's been, putting together for us.
Right, and
And
it sounds like he's been doing it for like almost. This project's been going on for like 5 years. You say, like
yeah,
pre-COVID. Wow.
yeah, yeah. We're just lucky to be part of it. You know,
Mm.
in the people that I work with, I'm lucky to be working with them as well. Yeah, we have a group chat. We sit there and go back and forth with each other and stuff.
Yeah.
There's a couple of us that not me personally, but some of that have had deaths in the family,
Yeah.
and things like that over the last couple of months. And you see the other people that are on the show and the cast members, and the crew that are like coming together for those people. And
Awesome.
like we've known each other for years.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just definitely a good group to be part of, a good project to be part of.
I love that for you. That's very cool. Very cool situation.
Thank
And
you.
I did want to thank you for coming back on the show since we had you scheduled for last September. We
Yes.
wanted to thank you for coming back.
No. So much.
It's a good thing because then we have more to talk about this time
Yeah,
around. Right?
this is true.
Yes. I appreciate you and everybody else that rebooked and understood the reason that why I need to take my break. You guys are awesome. I appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. I really enjoyed talking to you guys. Good luck with the shows in the future, and thanks for having me on.
Oh, we're not done yet. I just
Oh,
wanted to
I
thank
thought
you.
that was an outro there.
No. I just wanted to. I was just checking. I'm like, I think I had him. I was just wanted to thank you. No.
Yep. He was the one of them that was booked last fall. Yep.
Yep. Do you have what's your best piece of evidence you think you've ever caught?
Oh boy. I know that my kids group, they captured my favorite thing is EVP recordings.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like it's the hardest thing to fake,
Mm-hmm.
as long as you're in the room with the people.
Yeah.
But the kids, we were at the Little Red Schoolhouse in Hammond, and we got a EVP recording in there that says "Help Me," and
Mm.
I mean it is class A plus. Like you don't even have to sit there and stress to hear it or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's just definitely something that they got it, and you could just see all the kids when we went to go play it back. They were just like, "Wow, we just captured that." And I was like, "Yeah, you guys just captured that. Like, you don't have to have a $200-$300 digital recorder,
Right.
in order to do that. You just the best EVPs like that we'll capture with like a $35 or a $20 digital recorder.
Mm-hmm.
Just something, even ones that are a little bit older. They'll work out, and then somebody will have like a $500 Zoom, and they'll come out and be like, "Oh, I didn't get anything." So it's
Right.
it doesn't matter about it.
Sometimes the simpler, older tech works just as good or better than the expensive stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I'll see Jamie, like he opens up he has everything all organized, and he'll open it up and he's got all these things lined up, and it's kind of like, that he's got it like these things are the expensive ones, these are the ones that are not expensive, that kind of
Mm-hmm.
stuff. He's got like so many different kinds of everything, And so that gives you an opportunity to try to, well, what are you going to get with the cheap one? What are you going to get with the expensive one? Sometimes it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other questions we had wanted to ask you is, do you have, because I know you've been to a lot of locations, but do you have anything still on the bucket list that you want to go to?
Oh boy. Well, I want to do I want to do hospital on College Hill. I think that would be a good thing to do, like it out in West Virginia.
Mm.
I haven't been to Gettysburg since I was in high school, so
Oh, so
I'd
worth
like to
it.
go out there, even just to go and visit. It doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily have to be for that. I would love to go to Ireland again. I went to Ireland back in 2014 as a chaperone on a high school trip, so that was pretty fun.
That'd be
But
Nice.
cool.
yeah, we did like a ghost walk the last day that we were there in Dublin. Got to
Very
see
cool.
where Bram Stoker went to college, things like that. But I'd love to be able to go to a couple castles and stuff while we're there and be able to do some ghost hunting. I think that would be fun. Um, and then I would like to definitely go to Florida. I've never been to Florida before. So I would love to go to Florida
Oh
and
wow.
check out some of the places. We get, like something like St. Augustine, stuff like
Mm.
that.
Yes.
I'd really like to do that. But Old West type stuff, things of that nature.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it
Because a
just
lot
keeps
of us
going.
over here don't go out west. So,
Yeah, it's you know what I had it on my list this year. I was like, I'm going to go to Sally House. I've
Oh,
always wanted to go to
in
Sally House.
Kansas. Yeah, in
Yeah,
Kansas.
I've
Mm.
always wanted to do that in Micantor Villa, right across you know,
I
right
think I
across
know
the
what you're
town
talking
from
about.
each
Yeah.
other. So I
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
always wanted to try that out, but it's that schedule just fills up so quickly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's just one of those things where it may not fit in the schedule this year. It may be something that we got to plan ahead for next year.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're like scheduling things for the kids group, and then you're
Yeah.
scheduling things for the adult group, and then other things that are on the side that pop up and everything like that.
Like
Sometimes,
rail life.
yeah, yeah. So like it just gets to the point where you have to, some things are going to have to fall by the wayside when
Yeah.
it comes down to stuff, especially when priorities start to pop up.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I've got a whole day job schedule. So,
Yeah.
things like that. Um, but, and now I'm waiting for Oscar to come back here so I could introduce him to you. He's around here somewhere.
Yeah.
So
I,
you've probably seen him on my Facebook.
Yes.
Those pictures of Oscar. So he had some
I've
health
seen
problems.
you and the significant other. I've seen Oscar a lot.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I've seen like the whole story. Like, I mean, he was a stray, wasn't he?
yeah. He was meowing across the street. He was a baby, just real small. And
Yeah.
Amy said, hey, I hear something across the street. And went over and got him, and we were gonna give him to somebody else who takes care of cats. But then we decided to keep him, and he's definitely infatuated with her.
Mm.
So he
Yeah.
sleeps face to face. So I heard the door open up there, so I think she let him upstairs.
Mm.
But he wanted to say hello apparently here, and he almost knocked all my notes off my desk here. So
Yeah.
like
And I remember I've been following because I remember him getting lost and all
yeah,
that, and I was just like, oh man, not Oscar.
yeah. He actually he had there was a search party that got together, and there was
Yeah.
golf carts out, and a lot of the high school kids saw me
Yeah.
posted online.
Oh
For
gosh.
it, we have like a town Facebook page that people post things on.
Yeah.
There was
Mm.
like 50 people came out across the
Oh my
street,
god.
and going in between yards looking for this cat, and
Oh wow.
we found it right underneath the porch, right behind us. So
Yeah, of course.
so
Well,
now he's a big boy now. Now he's about 20 pounds.
Yeah.
He's probably got like part Bengal in him, and he's just a handsome cat. He's got like all sorts of
he's
really
really
cool
cute.
print. So,
Yeah.
but he's had some health problems lately and stuff like that.
Aw.
So we had to get him on a little diet food, and
Yeah.
he just looks at me like, really, Dad? You know, put it on there, you know, but definitely he's a lot heavier than this book here that he's sitting on. I was waiting for this whole thing to flip over.
Yeah.
Everything's hanging on by a thread right here. This is kind of like a work in progress here, what I'm putting together here for podcasts and things like that. So
your
this is
in progress home studio.
Yeah, this is actually like kind of balancing on a box full of cat balls. You know, like those, the light up cat balls.
Right.
Yeah. So this is actually balancing on it, and then I've got like a small table. So he was like walking, and I'm like sitting there, like, don't even think about it. And all of a sudden, he just went to go for it, and I had to tell him to go away. So,
now
that I want him to come back, he won't. So,
right.
Well, tell Amy some of us do follow Oscar the cat.
He actually does have his own Instagram page. So.
Does he? I know
Oscar
that.
Fan Club. Yeah.
Oh, good to know. I might have to go over there and follow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, it is on the hour just about here. Pete, again, thank you so much for joining us tonight, for letting us interview you. We greatly appreciate it. I love hearing your stories. I love hearing how you got into the field and your projects. And, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next. For everybody that wants to follow you, where can they follow you at?
On Facebook is the main thing that I use. And then Northwest Indiana Paranormal has a page. The high school group, we just have the high school kids that use that page, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
Try to keep strangers off the page and everything like that.
Right.
And we get some weirdos that try to get on there, trust me. So,
right.
And then Instagram, my personal page, Pete Greist, and then also Northwest Indiana Paranormal has a page as well through Instagram. So the cool thing about our group is that anybody is welcome. We are a not-for-profit paranormal society, so people can come out and go on trips with us, and I pay just as much as everybody else does when we go on these trips. So it's completely not for profit. We don't make any money.
Right. Yep. That's the way we run our stuff too. If we just take the cost and divide it evenly, and Yep.
Teach their own. If somebody has a business, that's cool and everything. It's just not the way I do it.
Right.
Same way. It's that Aquarius energy, Pete. Because I know you're an Aquarius. I seen that and I'm like, I knew I liked that guy. Same here.
February 1st.
Yep, mine's the 6th.
Yep, there you go.
Actually, my daughter's is the 1st, so that's funny. That you guys share the birthday. That's awesome.
Yeah, what a coincidence.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everybody tonight for joining us and listening to us talk to Pete. And next week we will have
the guys from Dark Realm Paranormal, Jay, Joe, and Jason.
Yep, they'll be back. They were here in August. They joined us for the one and only show we did in August, but they will be back to update us. They've got updates.
Yep.
So with that said, everybody, you all have a great rest of your night, and we will see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you all.